Hi, beloved hearts. This is Anrita Melchizedek, and I'd like to share with you a little bit about what is going on a planetary level and how this is affecting us as the new Earth is. Essentially, right now, what we are experiencing is a deepening, merging, and integration of our divine masculine and divine feminine spirits. It's fifth dimensional consciousness and sixth dimensional consciousness. And with that, we're birthing our magical innocence. We talk about that as a Christ child, but essentially it's a soul embodiment, and it's from that lens or that cosmic perspective that we move forward in unity and love. So what is being played out then on the outer stage from a 3D perspective is very much perceived separation and distortion, and almost what we would call the battle within as a reflection of the battle without. And these distortions and perceived separations are very much what we are working with within ourselves, which is our higher selves and lower selves, the merging and integration thereof, the heaven and earth, or heaven and hell, even depending on what we're working with from our own perceived density or levels of unconsciousness, the masculine, the feminine, all of these aspects of ourselves, the galactic, the human, the conscious, the unconscious aspects. And what we're doing then is, as we deepen into the awareness of holding divine neutrality, of centering ourselves at 0 point in the heart of love, we allow for a deepening of the beautiful rays of creation to activate from within. And these rays of creation, many of us know the story of how in 104,000 BC, Sennacherib and many of the Kumaras came through from Venus, and a call was put out to 144,000 souls from different galaxies and star systems to come down to the sacred earth and to hold this beautiful threefold flame of power, love, and wisdom, so that all life could connect into and through Gaia and the unity grids of divine love, and take this flame from within and expand it round and into the unity grid, so that every man, woman, and child upon this sacred earth would be able to experience their sovereignty, would be able to experience their open hearts, would be able to experience their multidimensional consciousness as the light of God that they are, and the light of God that we are. At that time, of course, there were a lot of artificial grids placed within the unity grid of divine love, the 144 crystalline grid that exists within us and around us, and connects us into all the templates and sacred geometries, numerologies, fractal geometries, sound and color frequencies that we experience when we connect into Gaia, initially as the Divine Mother, and experience that sense of the one heart, the pulse of the one heart, that combined mind, higher mind, which we also talk about as the collective consciousness of all awakened souls, as the I am avatar consciousness, or the beloved I am presence. And essentially our own soul light, which is photonic light, which is God light, source light, comes through in those aspects of consciousness that connect us multidimensionally to all aspects of ourselves, our galactic selves, our higher selves, our Christed selves, our angelic selves, our Lemurian selves, our Atlantean selves, ancient Egyptian selves. Every timeline that we have had, many of those timelines are merging and integrating right here, right now, as we expand into new frequencies of love and unity consciousness. And we do that very much through the nurturing aspects of ourselves, the feminine aspects of ourselves, as we move from 3D, which is the unconscious state, to 4D, which is more conscious and aware as the witnessing presence, having two voices, where we have the higher selves giving us that inner guidance, but we're also still working with a lot of those distortions and dualities. And this is really where many light workers are right now, and we're shifting then into fifth dimensional consciousness, where we're still clearing and fine-tuning those distortions and perceived separations that we experience from a third dimensional and fourth dimensional perspective. The difference here is that we have been able to maintain or hold our consciousness to the fifth dimension and beyond for long enough for the light body DNA to start to activate. And there's many things that activate the DNA, whether it's sound, whether it's color, whether it's particular qualities. And what we're going to be working with in the masterclass coming up is we're going to be working with the beautiful rays of creation. And to get back to the story of Sanakhamara and Venus and Shambhala, is how this beautiful etheric city then was created through the divine light rays of God consciousness, which we know as the rays of creation. And 12 beautiful rays, starting with 7 initially and then merging into beautiful increased frequencies, vibrations and qualities as we've increased our own consciousness to be able to experience these 12 beautiful rays that will activate the DNA from within, but also connect through the unity grid and receive it from out coming in and taking it out again. So that initial impulsing of those beautiful rays from Shambhala came through from the threefold flame of power, love and wisdom. And then we had the opportunity in various timelines as initiates of light to then move through a deeper understanding of what these rays presented for us, both the higher qualities and the lower qualities of each of these beautiful ray frequencies. And what we are experiencing as we amplify now that threefold flame and then the qualities of all 12 rays. And there's also 6 cosmic rays, which I'll talk about another time. That then becomes flames of light around the body, which takes us into purification to release that density of separation, distortion, lesser than and better than consciousness, victim and persecutor consciousness, and we start to program then the DNA with these beautiful light rays of creation. So we're seeing this amplification right now of this outer battle, and the best thing that we can do is come inwards to be able to extend our open hearts to that point of divine neutrality, to that point of 0 point, and have a deeper understanding of how these beautiful ray frequencies and energies are affecting us as we start to activate from within the light body DNA through these rays of creation. And the rays themselves are actually plasma light. And these plasma light frequencies then, of course, are still coming through from the central sun, through the sun, through and into all the planets on this solar system, and then from Shambhala, from Venus, onto the sacred earth, into the unity grid of divine love, and then from there into every subatomic particle of our beingness as we elevate our consciousness to fine-tune or collapse and dissolve the lower timelines and lower qualities to those ray frequencies, and then move into the higher qualities of those ray frequencies. And with that, it starts to shift our consciousness. So if we look simply at the threefold flame that many are familiar with, this first ray of will and power is a beautiful blue ray. The second ray of divine intelligence, a beautiful golden yellow flame. And the third ray of love, wisdom. What we're seeing here then is that expansion and that contraction through that first ray of will and power. We're seeing the lower qualities, which is abuse and misuse of power, being played out on the world stage. We're seeing that third ray of divine intelligence, which is really essentially about the divine equality of all love, recognizing everyone as Buddha, Mother Mary, Christ, and then allowing that reflection to really just expand through the unity grid into the heart of Gaia, connecting every single one of us through the I Am Avatar consciousness, the beloved I Am presence, to expand that beautiful pink flame of love, wisdom. And of course, the lower qualities to that is conditional love. It's the contraction of the heart that creates that perceived separation from others. So we're moving deeper and deeper into releasing those distortions, into transcending and collapsing those lower timelines. And we can do this in a beautiful way, working from within and working with these ray qualities. So the fourth ray is harmony through conflict, and it's a beautiful green ray of creativity, and also releasing that perceived sense of stress within us to fine tune, to find a greater balance. We've got the fifth ray of concrete knowledge, which balances. It's an equilibrium flame in this beautiful orange color. And I wanted to say how we experience it initially is actually through the chakras. When we deepen into being new earthers, and what we will experience is that the lower chakras representing the lower timelines will actually also start to collapse. And then we expand from the heart and we create the stargate of the loving heart. And there's a couple of other stargates that are created within the body. But in that initial stage, what we're doing is that we're almost imagining these funnels or vortices of light moving through each of the chakras. And each ray does this with these beautiful qualities and beautiful colors. And many people ask, what are the colors of the rays, or what type of color should I be looking at if I'm thinking of indigo or violet or blue? And it doesn't really matter. In fact, what I understand or have experienced myself is that often they are of a primary hue, but very iridescent in color, and then it's expanded into other colors, because there's not really just one color or quality that we're integrating, or sonic frequency that we start to hear from within the inner ears. So we've got the fifth ray of concrete knowledge, this beautiful orange flame, and each of these rays are also related initially to particular chakra centers, but as we then move deeper into the chakras starting to merge into one unified column of light, then those chakras themselves that are collapsing and dissolving don't represent that same particular intensity or focus on the lower qualities or the higher qualities. It all just merges into unity consciousness, which is really why we also call this the unity codes of new earthers. And it's just a really beautiful experience to be able to integrate at a deeper level from a practical perspective, and to program these ray frequencies from within. That sixth ray of devotion and idealism, it's just a beautiful indigo flame that takes us deeper into that guidance and that connection that we have with Source, with our own beautiful soul light, with our own higher selves. Merging timelines have been experienced simultaneously. The seventh ray of ceremonial magic, many know about this beautiful flame, this violet flame, that is a purification flame. I also talk about this as the patterns of perfection. And with that, then we use a violet flame from not only within and around and connecting into the unity grid as the stargates of divine love, but essentially what we're also doing there is receiving that from Shambhala, from the overlighting of the sisterhood of the rose, the brotherhood of the light. And as they imbue and hold these plasma light frequencies and codes, connecting into the sacred earth and into the unity grid, and the plasma light frequencies themselves also come through the sun, they come through the moon, and all of that is amplified through our own beautiful soul light and programming from within as we fine-tune our own frequencies to truly know ourselves as love. And with that, collapse and dissolve the lower timelines. And right now, that's what we're doing for all upon the sacred earth, for all our brothers and sisters, is that we're holding that powerful flame of divine love with compassion, with non-judgment, without blame. Lower qualities to these ray frequencies, for example, that third ray is very much one of lesser than and better than consciousness, and we're shifting from that judgment, we're shifting from that blame to just holding that open space of knowing that this change that is upon us is really going to create that heaven on earth for all life, as everyone awakens to their own sovereignty, as everyone moves out of that victim, persecutor consciousness and all that comes with it. So this beautiful seventh ray, for example, is one of the most powerful flames that we use upon this sacred earth. Then we've got the The 8th ray, we call that the 8th ray of transmutation. It's a beautiful seafoam green and violet colored flame, and it's just another level of clearing that perceived separation, but also starting to take on a greater level of the mantles of responsibility as way showers, as group keepers, as light workers upon the sacred earth. We've got the 9th ray of highest potential. It's a beautiful blue-green flame of light, and that goes right into the original 8 cells and starts to program the codes of creation from within to new levels of the soul's blossoming magnificence and light as the merging of the galactic timelines start to occur. And we're starting then to experience a deepening sense of ourselves, not only as the light of God that we are, or as star seeds, but essentially as star beings. We are integrating and experiencing ourselves as Pleiadians, as Sirians, as Andromedans, as Arcturians, as Lyrians, whatever that initial resonance is, but we're integrating and merging with all these divine aspects of ourselves. And that 10th ray of divinity is really an expansion of the threefold flame. It's just the perfect balance in every single way. And when we connect into that beautiful 10th ray of divinity, beautiful pearlescent flame, and take it from within and expand it outwards, we're bringing through primarily the higher ray qualities of the threefold flame of power, love, and wisdom. As we move into the 11th ray of illumined truth and divine love, it's this beautiful pink orange flame. It's imbued so much with that beautiful pink ray, but it's also so much the rays of initiation. So we start to merge into the timelines of Atlantis, Lemuria, ancient Egypt, other timelines of self-mastery. Essentially, they're still clearing distortions and karma along those particular timelines, but deepening into expansion of the loving heart, and simultaneously starting to experience a much greater level of the pineal gland activations and the wisdom of the higher mind coming on. And we integrate the wisdom of the higher mind into the loving heart, where the heart itself becomes our operating system. And the 12th ray of one unity consciousness, this beautiful golden flame, is essentially then the integration of the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and that takes us up to and into the 6th dimensional level of consciousness and beyond. And so as we're integrating those higher ray frequencies, programming, activating from within, what we're also doing is clearing all the karmic timelines. And those karmic timelines that we're clearing are the falls of consciousness in different timelines. I did talk about the fall of consciousness of Atlantis as one of the timelines that were coming through here before we could experience those golden age timelines. But simultaneously, depending on where we are in our own levels of consciousness, we're experiencing a lot of the Lemurian energy. We're experiencing a lot of that love, that unity. And right now what we're doing is that we're just holding that energy for all life upon this sacred earth, particularly right now. It's a very, very important timeline for all of us as awakened souls, through the heart of love, from compassion, from unity, from all that we are as vibrating stargates, to be expanding those frequencies out and around the sacred earth. So I invite you to join us in our masterclass that's coming up soon, where we go into a deeper level of programming these beautiful plasma light rays in the plasma light ray DNA activation, the New Earth Unity codes. And I look forward to seeing you there. So from my heart and to yours and to the heart of all creation, blessings in love. Namaste.